States of
Recording in
America,
progress.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk please take the roll?
Councilmember James Blair,
Here.
Councilmember Joshua Crossman,
Here.
Councilmember Holly Smith,
Here.
Councilmember Brian Hess,
Here.
Councilmember Terry Kaminsky,
Here.
Mayor Joe DePinto.
Here. Thank you, clerk. We will do an agenda approval. Before that, I just want to explain what we're going to be doing regarding the executive session. As soon as the agenda is approved, we'll go immediately into an executive session. We're going to do that for 15 minutes. It says 30, but we're going to go ahead and do it for 15 minutes. We'll come back. If we need more time, we'll go ahead and extend it. But if we can do it shorter, I'd love to do that too. We'll do the council applicant interviews. Thank you for attending, council applicants. We'll do that at the very end. We'll go into executive session right after the interviews, and we'll come out, and hopefully the council will be able to make a decision after that. So, can I get a agenda approval, please? Councilmember Blair.
Make an amendment for it, possibly.
What is your amendment?
Would it be appropriate to add a second executive session between the appointments? That way, the first appointee has a moment to discuss with everyone.
I think that would be appropriate. Council, do we have a second for that motion?
Second.
Questions?
Question.
Councilmember Hess?
When you say it's for discussion, the executive session, as far as I know, is to discuss qualifications of the candidate.
So the reason I'm suggesting it is whoever we appoint first has not seen the applications for anyone else.
Okay, no, that's fine. It's just I want to make sure that it's understood that the executive session, the first one that we're doing is just to discuss qualifications. That's correct, right?
We will have our, that is correct.
Okay.
I'll go over the actual RCW before we go into those in the meetings and what they're for. But more than that, we will have our attorney present to go ahead and talk to us, discuss what is allowed to be said and not said in these executive sessions during the executive session. All right, so we have on table, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All right.
Mayor, can I clarify the second? Who made the second motion, please?
Councilmember Crossman, correct?
Well, I think we both did it.
We'll give it to Crossman on this one.
We'll go Holly.
Second is Crossman.
Thank you.
Thank you. And with that addition of the executive session, after the first council appointment is appointed, if there is any other additions, please state it now. Then can I call for a motion or a motion to approve the agenda with as amended?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Smith. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, we will now go into a 15-minute executive session starting at 16:04. We will come back at 6:16. If we need additional time, we will go ahead and ask for it and we'll come out. So 15 minutes executive session starting now. So let's all retire to the conference room, please. You all can stay in here.
You're tickling me.
Hey, ladies, don't forget you're still live.
That's what I was gonna say, it's live, yeah.
Erica, when you get back, can you enable my screen sharing, please?
unmuted.
Thank you, Cody. And I actually said, there we go. All right, I actually said the two corrections. One, I said the wrong time. I said 15 minutes and I guess it's 16 after instead of 19 after. I think we're good with that though, Kathy, because I said that a time. Kathy, can you confirm that we're good with that, or do we have to wait the extra 3 minutes?
No, we are good because you announced that you would come back at 6:16, so you guys are right on the dot.
Right, and then the other part, I did not specify, we went to executive session, to discuss upcoming negotiations with Teamsters for RCW 42.30.140, subsection 4A and B, 4B, and that was like 10 minutes, so that was good, well done. All right, we're on to item number 4, public comment. Do you have any public comment? Anyone in the audience? Do we have anyone, Kathy, can you see if we have anyone online?
I can't see those. Erica can view those from her computer.
We do have members of the public, but nobody has raised their hand to speak.
Okay, would you please raise your hand if you wish to speak, if you're a member of the public? I'm not seeing any, are you seeing any?
I am not.
All right, we will continue then. On to agenda item number 5, the consent agenda. I'm not going to read through all those things. The council should be able to see in front of them what it is, but I will read the consent agenda item number C, the City of Yelm Proclamation for Kindness Week. Each year, the City of Yelm does a Kindness Week and for the schools, and this is how our little support is for them, and so I'm just going to read it out loud and we'll move on. City of Yelm Proclamation, Kindness Week. Whereas the Great Kindness Challenge was created and launched in 2011 by Kids for Peace, a global nonprofit based in Carlsbad, California. And whereas the Great Kindness Challenge was piloted with 3 Carlsbad public schools and has now expanded to all 50 states with nearly 17 million students participating. And whereas the Great Kindness Challenge is 1 week dedicated to students performing as many kind acts as possible using a provided kindness checklist. And whereas Yelm Community Schools proudly demonstrates their commitment to improved school climate and increased student engagement by participating in the Great Kindness Challenge. And whereas Yelm Community Schools are honored to unite all students in the spirit of kindness and respect. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Yelm City Council hereby recognizes January 24th to 28th, 2022 as the Great Kindness Challenge Week, where kindness matters in the city of Yelm and beyond. Signed to the City of Yelm, Washington, this 11th day of January 2022. Signed by Joe DePeno, Mayor, City of Yelm. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Kaminsky. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We have consent agenda. On to item number 6A, approval public services contract and amendment number 2 for the 2021 water main improvements. Cody, would you?
This one,
Pat's got this one. Go ahead, Pat.
Good evening, Council. Mayor DePeno, this agenda item, which consists of actually a request to approve 2 related contracts, was introduced to the City Council last Tuesday evening at the study session. And just for your information, council members, you can find this on page 13 of your agenda packet. Our 2021 water main improvements project is listed as a component of the planned capital improvements included in the water system plan. Our consultant for this project, Parametrics Incorporated, has completed the engineering design for this year's project, and we are now ready to move into the construction phase. So an advertisement for construction bids was published in 2 consecutive weeks on December 2nd and 9th of 2021. Sealed bids were received on December 17th at 10 a.m. At City Hall. 11 bids were received. All bids received were reviewed for completeness and accuracy, and I have included the final bid tabulation in your agenda packet. I think that's on page 29, I've noted. Pacific Civil and Infrastructure of Sumner, Washington, was determined to be the lowest qualified bidder. Parametrics was selected to provide the required inspection services during construction. So amendment
Second,
Second.
second by Councilmember Blair. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please raise your, or please state by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, thank you, Council.
Thank you, Pat. On to 6B, approval of PSA design amendment number 2 and 3 for the water reclamation facility phase 2. Cody, this is you.
This is me. So council, this is the long discussion we had last week about the WRF amendment. We kind of focused on the grinder pump aspect of this, but I wanted to open up. Pat, can you post or share the list one more time? I just wanted to make sure because we did focus a lot on the grinder pumps and there's a lot of other things on that, the agenda of what was going to be done in this amendment. I wanted to make sure you had a chance if you had other questions about it, you could. I know there was an email that was forwarded to you about kind of the grinder pump discussion and how we're in early phases of that. And this was more of just the study of how that could work. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. And you have
I'll
a
need
motion.
screen sharing. If somebody can share, help me enable my screen sharing, I can show you that bullet point list.
On it, Pat.
Okay,
Maybe not.
there we go.
There you go.
Okay, so you can see all the items this amendment will affect and what they are doing. I just wanted to give you a chance to look at it again because we definitely focus a lot on the grinder pump aspect. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer. If not, the amendment's in front of you in the motion.
Any questions? Seeing none? Oh, Councilmember Kaminsky.
I move to approve and authorize Mayor DePinto to sign amendment number 2 and 3 to the professional services agreement with Parametrics, Inc. in the not to exceed amount of $416,053.14 for an additional design services for the water reclamation facility phase 2.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
A second.
Second by Councilmember Crossman. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, council.
Thank you, Cody.
Um,
Councilmember Kaminsky.
Did we miss 5B on the list? Were we supposed to
No,
address
so-
that?
So that's part of the consent agenda.
Okay, all right.
We approve that as a package. And yeah, it's there. If you want me to talk or discuss it or, yep.
Just checking. That's all. Thank you.
That's just kind of a,
An update.
yeah, we're just, for those in the watching, I'm just gonna read it. Yeah, this one. This updates the signers on our bank from the previous administration, Mayor Foster and Michael Graham, and adds myself on there, on as a signer, so we can sign checks and just business, it's just, housekeeping. Thank you, that was the word I was looking for, housekeeping. All right, now, on to 6C, City Council applicant interviews. So for this process, what we'll do is we'll go down the line and I'll call up on all 5 council applicants. We'll go ahead and give a speech. Each applicant will go ahead and get up there and give a speech. Give time for the city council to go ahead and ask questions. And then we'll go to the next one. We'll continue that process till each applicant has said their piece. And then we'll go to executive session, come back out, and hopefully have a vote. So, Joseph Richardson, if you please step up to the dais.
Didn't even get a chance to hear what anybody else.
No, you are on the list first, sir.
Well, I guess I'll start off by saying, this last year has been pretty big for me as far as like learning about myself, what I'm capable of. When with COVID happening, I lost all the coaching jobs at the middle school were kind of done, so I couldn't coach football or track and field. But then Steele Clayton, he was just like, he's like, dude, come work for me. I'm like, bro, I don't know anything about insurance, zero. I am not good on computers. And honestly, I didn't consider anybody who worked at a desk any type of real work. But then I started doing this work and it really stretched me, like 3 monitors and they're like as if I was in the Matrix. And it was really stretching to me. And I told my wife, I said, it's just totally out of my comfort zone, but I feel like this is something I need to do. I feel like this is something I need to learn. And so within the last year, I've actually gained a lot of confidence in multitasking, working as a team, working with people that have more knowledge than me, but at the same time, learning quick. And so with that said, it's become a point where you just learn to gain confidence and to do things that you didn't think you could have done. And to be honest with you, it seemed like the first 3 months of work there, I thought, man, I'm gonna have dementia real quick because my brain was fried. It was a different kind of tired. It wasn't a tired like a physical tired like when you do construction. It was a mental tired. It was just psychological, like I'm exhausted. But then when I made the comment to the team, they said, actually, Joe, this kind of work pushes dementia off about 20 years. I said, okay, good. I've solidified my later years in life to where I can function and stay sharp. Even though my body may fail, I'll still be there present with my mind. So with that said, you know, when I work on different committees and different boards, I know that you don't always want people in the room that are just full of yes men. You don't want people just to be all yes men. You got to have folks that challenge your thinking, and not contrary for contrary's sake, but to ask questions, to maybe consider something that you might not be listening for or looking into. And so a lot of times I have people of influence in my life that think totally different from me. The best part is I know that they're not going to attack me because they're my friend. And so as you have these political conversations or conversations of different ways of thinking, then you realize, well, I didn't think that way because I guess I never considered that option. So as being a part of this or even serving as a city council member, I made the joke earlier. I was like, well, I've gotten real good at losing. And because sometimes, you know, when you lose, you really win. What I'm saying is, you know, you do these things because you want to serve your community. And so, you know, we got some fine candidates here. This is fantastic. And so whoever you guys choose, it's going to be great. It's going to be good. Congratulations to those of you who made it on. I'm real happy to see that. And at the same time, if you know, if I'm needed, then that's fantastic. If you choose me, that's fantastic. If not, I'm going to be okay. Life goes on. So I'm not over here. I don't want to seem like I'm desperate, but I want to seem like, you know, I think Yelm's going to be okay. And I think as long as we have that consideration of our city first, I think we'll be all right. So any questions? Hey, Terry.
Do you think, should you get a position on city council, Joe, that you would blow all of your circuits?
No, actually.
Too much?
Here's what I learned from working at State Farm. I realized my capacity of what I can do and how to process information. And that every day when I go to work, there's going to be something I absolutely do not know. But that's okay. As long as we work to figuring out and having some understanding. I don't want to be one that always has the answers, but I want to be one that pushes forward to, well, let's find out why. And in that why, make the best decision possible. We're not going to be perfect. But when I listen to you guys talk and the way that you're speaking about all these things that just happen, I go, oh boy. But then at the same time, I think all it takes is being in the culture, learning the language, understanding, and being around people that you can, you know, tolerate. and then you can get work done. So
All right, we're going to go down the line. So we'll give every council member an opportunity to speak. And then if there's more questions, we'll just keep going down. Councilmember Hess.
During the, let's say during the budgeting process,
yeah.
we come across the fact that we're able to hire on a new individual to the city. And our choices are between a social worker and a police officer. Which one do you choose and why?
Ooh. Well, you know, I don't know in the moment right now. I can't tell you honestly. Yeah, I guess if I was to actually pick one at this moment, it's hard. You know, I would say for Yelm, for the city of Yelm, I would actually, at this moment, I would say police. Because I feel like we just need more presence. I feel like there's some support that needs to be backed on that a little bit more. I normally would have said social worker, but I feel like for Yelm right now, with things that are the way they are, I think we could use another police officer.
All right. Councilmember Smith, do you have a question?
So my only question is, and I'll probably ask this to everybody, just one thing that was, I don't want to say it was a surprise to me, but you know, being on the council is not just 3 meetings a month. There's a lot more to it. So do you feel like you'd be able to balance, work life, family? There's a lot of little things that go on and just,
Oh, yeah, no, I saw the expected to serve on two committees. And I talked to my office manager tonight. As I left, I said, hey, I'm going in for an interview tonight. Don't worry, I think everything's gonna be okay, because if something happens or I get selected, I think I've learned how to manage life and balance it a little better. And I know that when I put time into something else, I actually pull from others. And so I've allotted times as far as Fridays go. Friday is my day where I do not work. But because I'm at a church, Saturdays and Sundays are pretty occupied. But beyond that, I feel like I can. And again, that's because I've managed my time and schedule, and the church gives me a lot of extra time to do these kinds of things. And our perspective has really changed on getting involved in community. So, but yeah, I think I could.
Councilmember Crossman.
What's the 3 things you want to tackle and how you propose you're going to
Ooh,
get them done?
and I know that was one of the questions in there.
I didn't realize that first.
he's like, good. What time is it?
And I saw that in there.
Real quick.
I know I was talking
Wait,
about,
okay.
I just want to see Yelm flourish, and I think Yelm is doing well. I want to be able to listen to concerns of the people, and not just that, but most of all, I want to debunk some of the mistrust that people may have, and thoughts of what happens and how things get dealt. I know a lot of you have come in here and you have this idea of what's going to happen. And once you get involved, you're like, whoa, well, I guess there's a process. And so, just learning how to communicate that to help put confidence back, not just in this arena, but in the city of Yelm, and that we are all on the same team. So maybe I just said 2 there, but yeah, whatever. Sorry, John.
Blair.
First off, any one of the 4 of you, if you have any doubt that you could do this, I'll say right now, I'm the example that yes, you can. Because I came on here and I did not know a damn thing. So if I can figure it out, I know either one of you can. That being said, a lot of people are gonna go about what makes you think you're qualified, or what would you want to do, what this, that, whatever. What I want to hear from each of you is, over the last 2 years, what do you think this city has done right, and what do you think this city's done wrong?
Yeah, it's been tough, especially the last 2 years being the whole pandemic. And I know there's state mandates that are involved in there too. But I guess I was always thinking, as a city, maybe we could have been more exclusive to our own needs rather than the whole, I guess. And I know some people think, well, that's a little more on this side, you would say. But I think in the situation, especially with the pandemic, things were handled as best as they could be. But I wish there was more consideration for small business owners, especially to how they can function and survive. Because I know a lot of folks who had to stop everything and move because they couldn't make it because of the pandemic. And maybe if there was something we could have done better there, which I have no idea how or what to do, but maybe we could have considered something. And I think those people that are at that place of making those decisions at that moment, I wouldn't want to be that person at that time, but if it so calls to be so, I hope I would do the best that I can. So I feel like Yelm did their best. Could they have done better? Absolutely. We can always do better. Probably might not do it in the moment, but let's learn from our mistakes and try to do better next time. So, yeah.
Any further questions for the council for Joe? All right.
I just wanted to say, I worked for State Farm for 38 years. It was better.
Oh, you work.
I was an analyst. I was
Oh, yeah.
on the corporate side,
I'm
but
just a
still,
secretary.
you're not just, your circuits will eventually come back together.
Thank you. That it, guys?
All righty, thank you, Joseph. Next up is Scott May. Not here in person. Do we have him online? Not seeing Scott online. Haven't heard from him either way, so we will go on to the next candidate, Lynne Roy.
Good evening, Mayor DePinto, council members, staff, and citizens. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here today. I'm Lynne Roy, and I am applying for one of the open positions on council, as you would know. I have spent the last decade living here in Yelm. In those 10 years, I've seen Yelm grow and change, and Yelm has seen me grow and change with it. I love this city, and I want it to continue being a place I'm proud to call home. Our city needs positive leaders to keep us moving in the right direction, who will advocate for economic growth while valuing the businesses that preserve our city's character and uniqueness. We need leaders who value the connection to our military families that make up a large demographic of our population. We need leaders who see the importance of inclusivity, volunteerism, and building for the future. I am deeply rooted in my community. My career has allowed me to connect with city leadership, businesses, and citizens. Prior to creating this life in Yelm, I earned my bachelor's degree in consumer affairs from South Dakota State University, go Jackrabbits, where I also sat on student senate and student senate administration. Then I was a military spouse where I spent time volunteering to connect military families. Since becoming more involved in my community here in Yelm, I've lent my time to organizations like Yelm Dollars for Scholars, Citizens for the Support of Yelm Schools, Yelm Prairie Christian Center, Yelm Lions and Rotary Clubs, South Thurston Economic Development Initiative, Washington Center for Women in Business, and Thurston County's Agritourism Advisory Committee. I'm looking forward to continuing to serve my community in an impactful way. As the director of the Yelm Chamber, I have years of experience in budgeting, forecasting, goal setting, and policymaking. I am Thurston County Tourism Ambassador certified, and I have completed open meetings training. Other strengths you can look forward to seeing are dedication, commitment, professionalism, compromise, active listening, and seeing all sides of an issue before making a decision. I know the challenges of balancing budgets and finding solutions to stretch limited resources to achieve maximum benefit. I liken my experience at the chamber to the experience that I'll need serving on this council. I work for not one boss, but a board of 12 different personalities, ways of thinking, experiences, and opinions. I've learned to work with people, create teams, and facilitate success for all. Yelm is a vibrant city that offers a unique quality of life. As a council member, I will never forget that I serve all citizens of Yelm. I commit to working in tandem with the current councilors, administration, staff, and residents to ensure Yelm's fruitful future. Thank you again for your time, and I would be happy to entertain questions.
Start off with Councilmember Blair and work our way down the other way.
Same question.
Right and wrong? Right?
Over the last 2 years, what do you feel the city has done well, and what do you feel should have been done different?
I will say, the past 2 years have been wild. Something that I really am proud of the city and what we've done is I feel like the city thought of its citizens. It helped with the water bills. For a long time, I mean, those just went back online. It created the grants for people who were struggling if they needed help with rent or electricity or gas or whatever. And took the funds that they received and did small business grants. I think that that's a way that, I think Yelm did that right. They thought of their citizens when a lot of other communities just didn't. Something that I really wish we could have done differently is it's so hard to see divisiveness. And that's so hard to say because you said, how could you fix it? You can't fix that. But you can recognize it and work to create a bridge and make sure that people feel seen and feel valued. And even though their opinions are different, and I'm gonna have different opinions from each of you at any given time. But I think one thing that we can, if we can commit to respectful discussion and positive leadership, we can keep that divisiveness from getting in the way.
I'm glad you brought that up. That honestly is the whole point of my question. because I'll be the first to admit that over all of this, I fell into the tribalism stuff. I know I got to the point where I was angry at people and I had to check myself. So that was the whole point of me asking this question.
It's hard, it's hard. Thank you.
Questions? Councilmember Crossman?
Same thing. We want to dive headfirst into and we propose to get it done.
I do have three main goals left over from my original campaign. Responsible spending, beautification of our downtown corridor, and be an advocate for economic growth while maintaining our city's unique character. Responsible spending, to me, responsible spending isn't cut all spending. It's more planning, forecasting, recognizing that sometimes you have to spend today so that you don't have to spend more later. I guess being well prepared, making sure that I have all of the information that you get as counselors when you come in, and understanding those numbers is going to be a big point in that. Beautification of our downtown, continue working with, I know Terry has a great committee that she's the committee of. And it's, seeing the work that she's done. There's a reason why we couldn't have more art downtown, more murals, things that can drive people to our beautiful city. And then of course, advocating for economic growth while maintaining our city's uniqueness. We're made up of so many small businesses, and it's those small businesses that bring the tax base, but also the character, and they're the ones that are supporting the teams and sponsoring events and donating to fundraisers. And so honoring those commitments that they've made to the community, but still planning for the growth that's going to happen.
Councilmember Smith?
I actually have a different question for you. Surprise. No. I was prepared. So, the chamber and the city intermingle and overlap in so many things. How do you see that? How do you think you're going to navigate that? You understand what I mean?
Possibly. Yes, the two entities as businesses do work together often. It's something that has changed a lot in the past 5-6 years, where before it was the chamber and the city were this jumbled up mess, where at one point they even had the same logo. That's confusing. So we worked a lot to separate from a lot of the same projects, while still working side by side, which I think that's how it should be. Both the city and the chamber have really similar goals. We both want to see the city thrive. We both want to see economic growth. We both want to see our community develop, build a workforce. But there is going to be some conflict there too, where, we're going to focus on, or the chamber is going to focus on the business members and small business, where the city is going to possibly pull in for big business. Look at bringing in larger bookstores. I think as long as you can recognize that the two exist, they can exist together. I think in between the lines of your question is this a conflict of interest? And that's the same thing. There's an opportunity for conflict of interest everywhere, every day. I think the way that you approach that and navigate around that is recognizing that there is that opportunity for conflict of interest and working transparently with both the city and the chamber. You know, recognizing when it's important to abstain from a vote, recognizing when it's one hat versus another.
Councilmember Hess.
Kind of on the same subject, because you brought up the conflict of interest. And I appreciate you being honest about that and recognizing that. I guess my for you, and it's going to be a challenge for you because you are executive director. How is it that you're going to be able to go from here, where we may have a valid reason to raise B&O taxes, or a valid reason to all of a sudden for the beautification of downtown, of saying, hey, businesses, you're now going to be, you're going to have to start stepping it up, and it's going to cost you. And then you're going to have to go back to the chamber, and you may have 12 members staring at you going, excuse us, what did you just do? And I guess my question is, are you able to face that could happen? And understand it? And I mean, I really hope the chamber wouldn't do it, that they would go, we can't have you working for us anymore because of decisions that you've made in this chamber here. I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but are you prepared for that? And how do you see yourself facing that, you know, when you all of a sudden have to go and get grilled for that? The only reason I ask is that in the military, I've held where I worked in one organization, I was assigned to another. There were times I had, you know, two bosses looking at me going, why? I had to justify it.
I think as long as I'm going to advocate for small businesses. It is not only because of my position, my day-to-day 9-to-5 job, but because that's where my heart is. There are going to be things that come up that people on one side or the other aren't going to agree with. If I'm in a room and everyone is agreeing with me, I'm in the wrong room. I want people to have differing ideas. And I think something that I've worked hard with, I've worked hard to showcase is just being authentic and transparent with everyone. You know, I'll tell them why I chose one thing over another. And you get those questions every day in any position, in any real, you know, in any world. But I think just understanding that I'm going to go into it with the same authenticity, transparency, vulnerability, as I would any other day.
Councilmember Kaminsky. Any questions?
Hi, Lynn. Only Lynn will know why I'm asking this question. It's not that hard.
It's not that hard.
My question is, after the disappointing results of the general election, what do you think gave you the personal strength to step forward again and be with us today asking for this position?
You remember just like 12 seconds ago when I said I was going to come into everything with authenticity and transparency? So I was not going to. I had made up my mind. I was, nope, this is not, no thank you. I was very disappointed at the end of the general election. Nothing, congratulations. But I would be lying if I said I didn't hide in a hallway and cry. And it was the cheesy cliche music swells from the audience. It was the people around me who had supported me, who pushed me forward. You know, it was, please try again. And, you know, you hear that a few times, and you want you want to keep going.
Any other questions for Lynn? All right, thank you, Lynn.
Thank you for your time.
Keela Russell, you're up.
Hi guys, I get to go after Lynn. Who's to follow?
Let's see order.
I think many of you know me already. I've lived in Yelm for 32 years. This is my home where I choose to raise my children. I love this city. I have, my family is from here. We plan to stay here. My kids go to school here. We just do Yelm. We love Yelm. I really like the direction the city has taken lately. Over the last few years, it seems very positive and kind of just on the right path, and that's where I want to keep us headed. I've done many volunteer things, and baseball was probably our biggest. We're a big baseball family. I say we, I mean me and my children. I have 5 of those guys, ranging all over the place. So I know how to deal with personalities and conflicts and different choices of everything. We do that really well in our home, and I'd like to bring that here. I'm pretty good at conversating with the community and getting opinions and feedbacks, whether they're good or bad or the same or different. I really like to interact with our community members and hear their thoughts and opinions and voices on things. And I think that that's something that I could bring to the council. And you guys pretty much should know me by now from all of the appointments, the campaign. Maybe just a few questions.
Start on this end. Councilmember Kaminsky, do you have any questions?
With all those children, will you have time to be with us and all the committees that we have to serve?
Absolutely. I'm just like figuring out conflict resolution with all those personalities. We've learned to balance our time very evenly and figuring out scheduling and babysitters and all of that.
Do you have a good support system?
Absolutely, yeah. All of my family is here.
Good. Thank you, Kayla.
Councilmember Hess.
During budgeting process, and this hasn't happened, it's just a scenario. We find out from Public Works that we're also $100,000 short to finish up the waste treatment facility. And that $100,000 is a key project. In other words, if it doesn't get funded, the waste treatment facility does not get finished. It means we are at a loss there. Also, during the budgeting discussions, we find out that we have a ADA compliance work program that's going on in downtown, building the sidewalks, things like that. It costs $200,000. With it, we had a $100,000 grant, and the city was funding it for $100,000. We have to make a decision on the waste treatment facility, and the 2 proposals are surcharge added to the bill until the $100,000 paid off, or cancel the $200,000 project. Which do you choose and why?
What was the second project?
Second
It was a long question.
I'm trying to follow.
Okay, the
I
second,
think it was sidewalks and the.
it was for ADA compliance, American Disabilities Act
Right.
compliance, for downtown to take care of the sidewalks and get it so that they become compliant.
Okay, so.
The cost for that was $200,000. We were able to fund it because the city paid $100,000 and we found a grant. We got a grant for $100,000.
Okay.
So the question I have is, waste treatment facility, somebody comes up with a proposal of either add a surcharge until it gets paid off, or we cancel the $200,000 project. Which do you choose and why?
Surcharge or cancel the project?
Yep, gotcha. I'm gonna, as much as I don't like debt, that's not fun. I think that both projects are very important, obviously. We need to be in compliance for the ADA community members, but we also need our water stuff. So I would probably do the surcharge at the end. That one. And hopefully find grants somewhere in there to help pay it off faster if possible.
Councilmember Smith.
Wow. Terry took my question, so I'm gonna ask you just, yeah. I'll ask, mine was about time, but just, what was your favorite community event this year?
This year, I'm gonna be a little biased and say the snowman competition. Did and threw together in a matter of a day. That was probably my favorite. We had a lot of people involved. We had a lot of businesses donate, just it was wonderful, and I can't wait to do it again this year. Awesome.
Councilmember Grossman.
I have a large family, so those dynamics are only known by large family people, how to run everything. So where you want to hit the ground running and how are you going to do that?
So I know in the application I had said public works, parks, something else. So I'm gonna change it for you right now. I'm gonna do our parks. I love our parks and I love the new things that we're adding and doing, but our parking is not good, especially if we look at Longmire. So if we have 6 baseball teams plus families, there's no parking. So I think that that's something that I would like to look into and see what we could do about that. Second would be the roundabout, and I guess it falls into beautification, but kind of ugly, and I don't like it. So maybe we can, add some like flowers or something in there that are native to Yelm. I had previously started that project, but getting a call back from DOT is interesting process. So it's kind of where it's at, but I have talked to Cody for 30 seconds tonight about that, so I can confidently say I started that thought process. And then I've noticed that there's a lot of garbage buildup around different businesses. So that would probably be my third one at this point, and just taking care of that. I know that we have codes and ordinances and things that prohibit that. Maybe we can just help them remove that.
Also, Member Blair, do you have any questions?
Same one. What do you think the city has done well, specifically in the last 2 years? What do you think should have been done different?
I think in the last 2 years, the city has done a lot of things well. The maintenance department is amazing. We've really gone forward there. And we've kept our community. Even though we're growing, we've still maintained a town feel in a city. I like that. Our water. Our rates are not skyrocketing now because we have people in the right places to make that not happen, and I like that. That's great. What Lynne had talked about, how we built the funds for people with the water, helped with the water and payments and things like that. We did the small business grants to help them survive. We didn't get mad at our small businesses for putting up some ugly plastic around the outside of their building just so that they could survive. I think that's awesome. I had read that there was places that didn't allow that, and it was shocking. Things that we could do different. Look at me right now. We're on such a good path. I don't really know that we have a lot of different things to do. I think that the Roten Road project should have been different. The tree stumps should have been removed off Roten Road first. Or the branches under the road first. That's all I got there. It really is.
Alrighty, any other questions? Alrighty, thank you, Kayla.
Oh, one more for you.
One more question. Go ahead, Councilmember Blair.
How are you with this type of position? It's kind of like for everyone also, just to think about. A lot of people are gonna like what you do. A lot of people are gonna hate you. Straight up. How will you deal with that? And you think you're ready for that?
I run this Facebook page here in Yelm. It's a pretty big one. A lot of people already don't like me, and a lot of people do like me. I roll with it. I want to have a conversation with everyone, though, at the end of the day, because that's what's going to keep us going.
Thank you. Stefan Bernie.
Good evening, and thank you. It's nice to see
see some of you again, and congratulations to the new elected and the re-elected and Mayor DePinto. My name
Speak up a little bit. I have a hard time hearing you with my job, so sorry.
My name is Stefan Burney, and I, over the last 11 years, have worked in state government. Specifically, the last 2 years, I have actually been assisting with the recovery of COVID-19. Don't blame me that we're still in a pandemic, still recovering. And within all of my government experience, I have focused my background on project coordination, lean process improvements, program management, contracts management, stakeholder engagement, and just really assisting various geographic areas like lower income, poverty families, harder to reach populations, being support that they need in various different health or public health needs, specifically, trying to reach out to pregnant women who have been positive for hepatitis B, so that they can, start the prevention beforehand, or, within COVID, reaching some of our like agricultural settings that don't have the support or options that some of our larger cities would have as far as like funding or medical care and things of that nature. So throughout all of this experience and so much learning over the last few years, and being very invested to the citizens of Washington State, it really just kind of dawned on me and had that I could do and provide support to the community that I choose to live in. My husband and his whole family were born and raised here, been here for more than 40 years. I've been here off and on. I first moved here 18 years ago and have been here off and on ever since then. Our children are all within the school systems within Yelm. We own property out in Bald Hills, so we're even kind of not just city folk, but we branch outside of the city limits. Yes, I am ready to jump in and see what kind of support I can provide to the city.
Alrighty, starting with Councilmember Blair.
I'm gonna have two for you. First one, same as everyone else. Last 2 years, what do you feel was done right, and what do you feel probably should have been done different?
Hard to come up with different answers. So for that haven't already been said, I would say just as a citizen, walking my dog through the side of the road and down the trails and whatever else, having my kids ride their bikes down our trails or on our sidewalks, there is a larger increase in our homeless population, and I feel like there is a much larger increase in a lot of the garbage or the broken glass or all of the things that not necessarily come just from that population, but I feel like have been an increase over the last few years. So it's not directly a responsibility of the city, but it would be something that I think would be pointed to the city and could potentially have either some kind of assistance there, whether it's, extra volunteer groups or something to go pick up the garbage, including myself and my family. So that's one thing that I would say is just on a negative. And then on the positive, just kind of almost on a superficial level, the water tower. I know that that was a committee decision to kind of keep it, but to be able to drive through here, one, it's history. So we maintained the history of Yelm, but then you also gave it a lot of spark and some like, pizzazz. And it's uplifting, comfort and then something else that I think on your everyday life has been a benefit is the recycling bins. I know that I've used them numerous times right there at Public Works, and especially with Christmas, and it really does make a difference. So that's two.
Okay. The second one, and to be completely honest, it's been a little bit since I saw you, but my biggest reason that I didn't throw it behind you, you spoke about you guys had plans of the property that you own outside of city limits of building your house there and moving there. What's your timeline on that? And because that's all very important.
Right. Well, you have some security there. We just in December had the wetland delineation done, and on our 13 acres, it now has to be reassessed because it's considered inhabitable, completely dry, and no wetlands on it. But it's a 2-year process to even get it to the point of buildable. Nothing can even start Thurston County until 2 years from now. So, and that's just, you know, for security reasons that we will be here. We will not be moving out there. There's not going to be any building happening.
Councilmember Crossman.
Since the applicant dropped off, you're the least known to me, so you get a different question. How are you involved with Yelm right now, and what do you look forward to? What things you're looking forward to get more involved in the community besides being on council?
Yeah, that one's a little bit of a hard question to answer. We've had schools being a remote learning for so long now. I normally would be really invested in volunteering all of my efforts with like the kids and their extracurriculars and some extracurriculars that are not specific to our school. So I want to get more involved in what our opportunity is around the infrastructure. Getting invested in learning about bridging some of those relationships with external partners, other cities, the county, things that would have I think a benefit if we can coordinate some plannings around, you know, advancing the streets or whatever else, you know, anything that we can do that's outside of our specific kind of like authority. And so the planning committee, I think I would be very interested in seeing the budget, you know, but backing when it comes to infrastructure and such. So
Yeah, more of sorry, I'll rephrase the question. It's more of extracurricular outside of council and committees. I was saying just being involved in a community, what ways are you looking to be involved in?
I do love the festivals that get put on, especially like the Harvest Festival that was here in the park. And also I'm really invested in kind of a cleanup effort. So I would love to see and be involved in maybe volunteering or coordinating a volunteer work group to kind of go around and pick up the glass that's over the roadways or the littered rum bottles that I see outside of our neighborhood that are a very specific brand. I don't know why, but they're everywhere.
They all have their favorites, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Councilmember Smith, do you have any questions?
I'm just gonna ask you about the time management. You said you have 3 kids and a family, so how do you feel about being able to juggle, you know, work, life, family? Feel like you'll be able to do that?
No, it's always a challenge. Tonight alone, we had double dance, basketball, and piano lessons. So we do have a really large support system here in Yelm that do help us out. And my immediate family, my husband is very supportive. So he has no problem kind of jumping in there and running around and doing what he needs to do so that I can go and do what I need to do. And I'm also a pressure prompted person. And so just kind of having a higher schedule, it generally kind of gives me a little bit more focus. And I tend to do pretty good with like the situation.
Councilmember Hess.
No problem.
Not a math problem. Going back to the first question I asked, during the budgetary process, we find out we have enough funding to bring in a new employee, social worker, police officer. Why?
Depending upon how much time you have to make that decision. So if it has to be on the fly, I think I would actually divide the funding and see if you can have 2 part-time positions, at least until you gain an understanding of what the need is for which one, or what the citizens have to say as far as what they would like to see within their community. So if it's literally like you have to make this decision right now and it's like real-time information, I would request for a split. If there is time, I would like to assess to see which one has a higher need and what.
Councilmember Kaminsky.
You said you were working in the health department?
Yeah, Department of Health.
No. Sorry, I have to ask this question. It's just me, but this is just personal, not really.
I think keep the question.
Okay, so given your experience in the health department and with all the seemingly conflict of information about testing and all that stuff, do you think the state of Washington should still be in a state of emergency?
that is something that I would actually ask for you to maybe reassess the question. One thing that I can't do is challenge my career. That is my everyday life. I can give you.
It wasn't a fair question.
Yeah.
Something more relevant to where the applicants, qualifications.
I didn't know that I couldn't answer that.
I understood, but she makes it.
I have no further questions.
I'm willing to answer anything else. It's just
Thank you, Councilmember Kaminsky. All righty, is there any other questions? All right, thank you so much, Stefan. All righty. At this point, we will adjourn to an executive session. Not adjourn the meeting, but we'll retire to an executive session again to evaluate the qualifications of a candidate for appointment to elected office per RCW 42.30.110H. And we will let's do 20 minutes. And then if we need more time, we will go ahead and request it, but it's easier to get more time than it is to, well, you can't get less time. So, all right, so we will do, let's just wait for an even number though.
So you can add.
When we did 30 minutes, it would be
It will be
45.
It will be back at 35.
And then we can do a break
So it's 20,
for those of us that are.
do 23 minutes.
That's a good idea too, and on the way where we can take a break. And at this point, let's do 30 minutes starting now. So we will return at 7:45. 30 minutes, 7:30, 7:45, we will return. You want to go ahead and turn off the. Thank you.
Okay. Good.
Ooh, perfect, 7:45. Call this meeting back to order at 7:45, returning from executive session to discuss the qualifications of a candidate for the appointment per RCW 42.30.110H. We'll now open the floor, excuse me, I'll go over the process real fast so everyone's aware, and then we'll go through nomination or motions for nomination. So at this point, we will open the floor to a nomination. We'll have a motion from a council member, say, motion for candidate A, B, C, or D. At that point, we will need a second. After that's, we have a motion and a second, we will call for any further discussion. If there's any discussion, we'll have it. If there isn't, we will call for immediately for a roll call vote. We'll just go down the line, a straight up or down vote. The council member has to receive at least 3 of the 5 members present to all the council members present, or excuse me, 3 of the members present, 3 of the 5, because right now we're obviously down 2, otherwise it'll be majority. They just need a majority vote. How about that? And at that point, the applicant will now become, if they get the 3 votes, the majority vote, they will become a council member. I will swear them in on the spot. We will then retire to another executive session. So for that opportunity for the other council member or the applicants to, or for the council member just seated to have the same opportunity as the rest of the council to discuss qualifications. And we'll go through that same process again. Is there any questions? All right, at this point, I will take a motion for a city council applicant. Councilmember Crossman.
I nominate Joseph Richardson for Yelm City Council position number 2.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Smith. Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Councilmember Blair, how do you vote? Yay or nay? Yay is a vote for Joe. A nay is a vote not for it. Councilmember Crossman, how do you vote?
Yay.
Councilmember Smith, how do you vote?
Yay.
Councilmember Hess, how do you vote? Yay. Councilmember Kaminsky, how do you vote?
Yay.
With a vote of 4 to 1, Councilmember-elect Joseph Richardson is hereby council member. So if you want to step up right now, congratulations. Yeah, we'll stand up right up in front of the council. We will do your oath of office, swear you in, and then we'll go to. All right. If you would please, let's scoot over a little bit, actually. This is a little bit. Actually, let's.
With the podium.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Right there. No, would you, let's go back.
This way, this way.
Right there.
Like this.
There you go. And then Joe right here.
Right here.
There's some tape on the floor.
Yeah.
And here.
Are we good?
You're gonna both in camera now.
All right. Joseph Richardson, would you please raise your right hand? Repeat after me. I, Joseph Richardson,
I, Joseph Richardson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the constitutional laws of the state of Washington,
and the Constitution of the laws of the state of Washington,
and that I will faithfully
and that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
perform and discharge
perform and discharge
the duties of the office of
the duty of the office of
City of Yelm City Council, position number 2,
City of Yelm City Council, position number 2,
according to law,
according to law,
to
to
the best of my ability.
the best of my ability.
Congratulations, council member.
Right in.
As soon as he sits down, yeah. I'll make him sit down.
Sit down first.
Nomination.
That's why we're gonna go talk.
All righty. According to the amended agenda, we will now retire to another executive session. We're going to schedule this one for 15 minutes. So, let's say 8:05 works. Let's do 8:04, 8:04, because mine says 7:49. 8:04, we will return.
Oh, boy, that just jump right into the fire.
Buckle up, boy.
We are unmuted.
All right, we reconvene at 8:04. Again, same process. Councilmember Blair.
I want to start off real quick and say the three of you are awesome. Kayla, I know you're involved in everything, and you have that certain connection that other people don't have, and I respect it 100%. And I know you want to be involved, and you want to hit the ground running and be part of everything. Lynn, you have a way of telling me when I'm being a dummy and correcting me that not a lot of people have. But that's more for jokes. Totally respect your knowledge and everything. Stefan, I don't know a whole lot about you personally, but a lot of points have been made regarding your experience and what that could bring, and I totally 100% agree with it. I just, in that respect, because like I said, I don't feel like I know enough yet, and I have to come to some kind of decision, and I'm gonna tell you that right now. I hope, however it goes, I want to see all three of you get involved one way or the other, whether it's sitting there or planning commission or one of the other commissions, or come in here and yell at me once, 2-3 times a month, however you're gonna roll with it. But that being said, please don't be mad at me. I'm gonna make the motion to appoint Lynne Roy to position 6.
There's a second. Second. Been a motion and a second. We'll go down the line. We'll be starting with.
Can we have a discussion?
Oh, excuse me, my apologies. Is there any discussion?
I just want to say something too. It's super hard. I don't know how this is going to go, this vote goes, because you're not allowed to talk about that back there, in case you're wondering. We don't know how anybody's going to vote here. You all have really great qualifications. You all super involved. Love to see that. So yeah, it is a super hard decision. It's not easy. So just realize that with the vote, it's not against any of you. It's just we can only pick one. And that's all we can do.
So, any other questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll take the call. We'll do a roll call vote, starting with Councilmember Kaminsky, working our way down the other side.
Aye.
Councilmember Hess. Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Councilmember Crossman.
Aye.
Councilmember Richardson. Councilmember Blair.
Take your seat.
Is that an aye?
Aye.
So, excuse me, Mayor, just for clarification, I could not hear Councilmember Hess, what his vote was.
The vote was unanimous.
No. Oh, you did? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even hear.
Yeah, sorry.
Just clarification, everyone voted aye, correct? Yes, the vote was 6-0.
Thank you.
Which is it?
I don't know.
I was gonna ask what are these guys doing? All right.
All right, just give me a second.
I don't like doing this.
Thanks, Ralph.
Exhausted.
I don't like doing what.
Oh, sorry.
No, I got it.
All right, Lynne Roy, would you please repeat after me and raise your right hand? I, Lynne Roy, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the constitutional laws of the state of Washington, and that I will faithfully and impartially perform and discharge the duties of the office of City of Yelm City Council, position number 6,
City of Yelm City Council, position number 6.
according to law, to the best of my ability. According to the law, to the best of my ability.
To the best of my ability.
Congratulations, council member. You're good. Please have your seat. Take your seat. Thank you for the rest of the applicants. As Councilmember Blair said, while we don't divulge what was said in executive session, I do want to say it was a robust conversation regarding the qualifications of each candidate. So, and when they say we don't vote, we do not vote or take any decisions like that. And so I thought it was a very fair process how it went down. And just wanted to thank you again. I do hope that you apply. There will be seats available for different committees and appointments. And I know you two would definitely be at the top of the list if you applied for any of those committees. So I would encourage you, and I will pull with an email. So thank you again. At this point, we're going to get my agenda out. We will move on to item number 7, which is old business. There is none scheduled. And number 8, item number 8, updates. We will go ahead and start with our interim city administrator, Stancil. Do you have any updates?
Yeah, I can give a couple updates.
Thank you.
We attended the chamber meeting today. We gave brief updates kind of on what's going on in the city as far as the individual departments go. Say with the police department, we signed the contract for the body cams and in-car cameras. So we're starting that process of implementation with those. We're continuing work on coming up with some expanded service hours for the city hall, opening early, staying open later to accommodate those folks that have more of a typical work schedule. So we're fine tuning that piece as far as that goes. A lot of good stuff happening at City Hall. I've spent most of the last 10 to 12 hours a day over there at City Hall. There's a lot to do, but it's exciting. It's fun getting to work with different departments, and everybody's really excited about kind of the opportunities going forward and a lot of changes, but we're optimistic that those changes are going to be good for everybody. So yeah, that's kind of it, unless anybody has any questions for me. Brian.
There was a statement made in December from the city administrator about, in reference to B&O taxes, that through advisement from somebody in the city talking about how we weren't collecting it all, now we're starting to work on that. I would like to ask, is there a possibility that at some point we can get a report in reference to that?
Absolutely.
You know, how did we miss them? You know, where did we fail? Because if I remember correct, the process on collecting B&O taxes is either somebody opens up a business, or like a fence builder who all of a sudden applies for a permit is also getting that B&O tax and a few other things. So I'm just trying to, I want to make sure that we kind of seal that up and work on that, because it'd be interesting to know how much money we could have had available revenue wise to help out the city.
Sure.
Compared to what we're now starting to see.
Chief, I'll sort of address a little bit. I'm not aware of when he said that. I don't recall that, but I do know that in talking with our finance department, and part of mine is a preparation for a speech that I need some help with number wise. And one of those things that they did bring up was the increased collection of B&O taxes. The way that we've restructured some of the positions, we've been able to collect more now that we have more without split duties, shall I say, so more concentrated on just collecting B&O tax, different personnel that we've hired. They've been increasing that collection. So it's not that we haven't been collecting it, but we're doing more with it. We're using more enforcement on it.
We're more successful.
Correct.
In reference to how it was stated, it was the city administrator made the comment that it came from a real estate agent, that there were multiple real estate agents doing business in town that were not paying the B&O
I do
tax.
recall that conversation.
And so that's why I wanted to go, okay, we're starting to see it. I'd like to see that at some point brought up for us to be able to take a look at and go, okay. And then if what you're saying is by getting more and more people to do the enforcement, then that's good. I just want to make sure that, I mean, I'd hate to see a business, all the business owners that are out there going, hold it here, I've been paying my fair share, and there's people conducting business not paying. So that's why I want to make sure that we're showing them, hey, we're standing up for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
No, we can follow up with that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sure we get
Just from my other position in the police world, there are times that, we get involved at some point in the collection process for that. And so it's always been a stance, I know, for the city to do everything necessary to try to either stop them conducting business within our city or to collect the appropriate tax so that it's fair to everybody. And so, like I said, in my police chief world, I know that we've been called upon in the past to assist with that collection as well. But we can definitely, we'll check up and kind of maybe get a general idea or a number, what that might look like for.
And I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Any other questions for me?
Kaminsky, do you have a question?
I might be merging these two things, but I thought the issue was about business licenses.
Was that the question?
Well,
Not the B and O.
regardless, either way, whatever it is, we will find out.
You're right. Yeah, you're right, Terry. It does involve both, because when you have businesses that may conduct business elsewhere, but they also conduct business in Yelm, it's sometimes having that
There's
appropriate.
already licenses involved.
Right.
They have to be multiple licenses.
So
Councilmember Crossman, go ahead.
if I can chime in, since I have experience in this on both things. Now that you talked a little bit further, that was about business licenses. Yes, not every city, almost every city in the state requires a separate business license to doing business. So if a fence builder comes into your town, technically you're supposed to have a business license. It's hard to enforce that when you have independent contractors. Most independent contractors do not have a business license for every single city they work in. It's not something that I would press as council to increase that. They're working men and folk. They pay their sales tax. B&O tax is not that much on construction type work, because I pay that B&O tax as well. There was a mix up with the B&O tax in collections a while back. It's further back. If you went council member sessions farther back, I think it was in the summertime, it was brought up or something, but there was a change in the system. And it was just the way it was collecting was hard. And Kim did a really great job, because I fell in that as well. I'm like, oh. And so the B&O taxes didn't get missed. They might not have been collected right away, but they all did get collected. Or most of them. I can't say all of them because I don't know all the finals. But like for me, for instance, I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that. And I have 2 B&O classifications. And so got that all sorted out. She helped out a lot. I think she's been working pretty good at getting all those things caught up to where they should be. So
And Kim does do amazing work with our local businesses to hold them accountable for where they should be, for sure.
People that are helping us.
She's exceptional.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how does that work if you put floorings in my house here in Yelm, but if you put flooring in Lacey, you don't pay tax on that sale of your flooring?
I pay sales tax. I have to have a business license to operate in that city. And
If you
my
put
accountant
flooring-
deals with all the taxes of the B&O side of
You
things.
know what I'm
so.
saying? Is it just all transactions done in Yelm?
I think this conversation is growing up.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Yeah.
It's a complicated system.
I just remember the conversation from December, and I just want to.
Sure, and council members, if you have any questions regarding anything at all, sometimes the appropriate venue is also just to reach out to us directly, and we can get you that information. If the intent is to bring it up, and during your, your report, you're more than welcome to do that. But this is just specifically for updates and anything related to what the updates are. If you have any questions further than that, I'm not going to shut you down or anything, but typically that's what it's for. Is there any other questions, or did you want to continue on your?
No, I'm good. Any other questions for me before? No.
All righty. Well, in that case, let's start off with council member reports. For those that are new, this is typically what we, when we discuss what we've done over the week in relation to our city council duties. You don't necessarily have to talk about how you walked your pet dog or something like that, but in relation to your duties as a council member. Councilmember Blair.
Meetings. I know it was brought up. I emailed everyone. So I'm just gonna bring it up here so everyone else is aware. Tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. Washington State Board of Health is having their next meeting. There's a big, sure Stefan knows what I'm talking about. There's a bunch of controversy around it. I think it was online and through a lot of messages that people got regarding it. It was presented not 100% of what's actually going on. I think people actually should definitely go down, as long, look into what's going on and voice your opinion on it if you want to go down there. It's not, from my understanding, it's not that the state's trying to implement a bunch of new quarantine stuff on everyone. And from what I've read since, it seems that like just the way things are worded was bad. And from my understanding, a lot of it's being walked back on anyway. So I don't think it's going to be too much of a concern. But they're looking up on Google, Washington State Board of Health. You can find the agenda, look through it. Just kind of, I would say, make sure you read through it all and research it before getting too crazy online about it all. That's all. Which I'm glad I just shared out what was shared to me. And then after looking through it, that's why I didn't really bring it up again. I'm not too concerned about it. I don't think we have to worry about a bunch of state police coming through and rounding up people because they tested positive for the Rona. Other than that, the only thing I think that deserves some scrutiny and people to speak their voices of, it's my own opinion, the possibility of kids being required to have it for school. If you're passionate on that either way, make sure you're letting them know. Outside of that, like, there was a lot of people that were really concerned about it. I think everyone can kind of take a breath.
Thank you, Councilmember Blair. Councilmember Richardson.
Yeah, I'm just gonna wave and say, I'll try to figure out something next time since I'm new, but thank you. Thank you guys for your information.
Thank you for a report. Councilmember Osman.
No committees, nothing going on but council stuff here, so. And go home, gals, take a breather. Don't be too bummed. I hope it was a tough choice, so come back next time. And it's good to see a full council here. Yeah,
Agreed.
because I like to hear the different opinions, voices.
Councilmember Smith.
I don't have anything council related, but I'm just gonna share community stuff real quick. I did do the bell ringing, the salvation at the Christmas week. And just thanks to everybody who donated $3,896. It's pretty good. Saturday, the 8th, I took part in the car parade that they did for Jaron, the young man in Yelm that has muscular dystrophy. And it was really good to see the community come out. There were about 130 cars. And thank you to the police and fire that helped escort us. And then I went to the chamber fundraiser fire relief thing, and that was really amazing. So, and I even got a gift card. I had to pay for it.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Councilmember Hess.
No committees. I attended the chamber luncheon today, and one of their speakers, I wish I could remember her name, deals with media storytelling. Very informative, and I would highly recommend that either during the retreat or at some time when we do a study session kind of thing, that we invite her to teach us all how to do that, to do storytelling and utilize social media to really help out getting the word out to our citizens, our residents, what's going on in the community. So we can, as I've heard, everybody, whoever stands at that podium trying to get a position here or who's run for office, the whole concept of breaking that barrier down and getting more involvement with the residents, having them becoming more involved and everything. So I found that very, very informative and had a nice conversation with her.
Thank you, Councilmember Hess. Councilmember Roy.
No report, thank you. But I do just want to thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
You got a total from the fundraiser? You can share yet? Or is that tomorrow?
We still only have really early numbers. Not ready yet.
Thank you, Councilmember Roy. Councilmember Kaminsky.
No council, no meetings at all. Everything's been canceled until we get our new
Assignments?
positions. Yeah.
Sounds good. All right.
Thank you to the candidates. Thank you and sorry.
For my report, first of all, I'll start off with the committees. Tomorrow, I'll go ahead and email every council member and we'll get you guys hooked up, the new council members, hooked up with email and all that tomorrow. It'll be I'll just reach out to you, make sure you have all that information. But we're gonna be going over all the committees. I will send out a list. Some council members have already indicated what council or committees they want to be on, what they don't want to be on as well. And through that process, I would like you to do your top four committees. And I'll list out all the committees so you can see what times they meet, all that stuff. And some information on it, some background. But at your next council meeting in a few weeks, I will have the committee assignments ready for you. And I'm sure you'll be happy because I want committees that assignments you're gonna be happy with, that you're gonna be engaged with, and you want to do. So if you don't want to be on a committee, that defeats the whole purpose of you going to it and really supporting it. So looking forward to that. We'll be discussing the council retreat for the planning of that. Now that we have a full council, we will go ahead and start at our next study session. It's on the docket to plan for that meeting or plan for that retreat and see what y'all want heard. Along with that is gonna be planning for the Nisqually Tribe meeting. We are not gonna do that at our next city council meeting through council concerns as well as some logistical concerns. We're gonna go ahead and move that to February 17th. And that day we will have dinner and the tribe will is offer to have dinner for us or prepare dinner for us. And we'll have it over there in their chambers at 6 p.m. on that 17th. We're still working out a few of the logistical concerns regarding cameras and all that stuff, but I will update you on all that as it happens. But also at that study session, we will plan first. I know I sent you all some agenda items that we're preliminary talking about, but any additional items that the rest of the council wants to add to that, we will go ahead and open up for that. And then we had I will be attending the State of Community with the Thurston County Chamber starting tomorrow, and that's at the I think they're called whatever the red line is. I think it's the R or the L, or I don't know what they're called these days, but it's in Olympia, doing that at 11:30 to 1, I believe. And other than that, I don't think I have anything else. Congratulations to the new council members. Looking forward to working with you all. Again, thank you for the applicants who did not get it, but please apply for these open seats or these open committee assignments. I'll reach out directly to you as well, though, so hopefully we can get you on engaged and involved in some of the other committees as well. And if nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
Second. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.